Chief Law Enforcement Officer, the Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, is giving his swan song right now. It's his last day on the job, and we want to listen in.
The thought was never to simply take that money and put it into the United States Treasury, but to come up with ways in which we could try to get people back into their homes or to somehow reduce the debt load that they were dealing with. Our antitrust division lives again, and has had a tremendous impact in our country and in the positive things that they've done for the American consumer. We announced, or we've heard, I guess, today, that a merger that I think would have been extremely anti-competitive and would have not been in the best interest of the American consumer has been abandoned. That is because of the great work of the men and women in the antitrust division. Our tax division, overseas accounts, dealing with our allies in Europe, bringing money back and disallowing the practice that for too long had gone on where people had squirreled away hidden money that they needed to actually pay taxes for and be held to be accountable for. Historic stuff, that as well. Indian country. You think about the tough history that exists between the United States and our native people. We have put on track, I think, the ability to right some really serious historical wrongs. We've done, I think, a great deal. Much work remains to be done, but this Justice Department was committed to addressing those problems in as frank a way as is possible. Criminal justice reform. If you look at all the statistics, you'll see the incarceration rate goes like this and then it goes up in about 1974, late 70s, something like that. And we are a nation that incarcerates too many people for too long and for no good law enforcement reason. It is time to change the approaches that we have been using these past 30, 40 years. And through the great work of the people in this department, we are starting to reverse that trend. Again, more work remains to be done, but we're on the way. Civil rights. The LGBT community is something that I have tried to focus on. I think that is the civil rights issue of our time. This whole question of same-sex marriage, which will be resolved by the court over the next, I guess, couple of months or so. Hopefully that decision will go in a way that I think is consistent with who we say we are as a people. But I also think that that is really just a sign. It's an indication. It's one part of the fight for overall LGBT equality. And I think the work that you all have done in that regard is going to be an integral part of the legacy of this department. And then, you know, the thing that I think in some ways animates me, angers me, is this whole notion about protecting the right to vote. We celebrated this year the 50th anniversary of the passage of the Voting Rights Act. I went to Selma to commemorate Bloody Sunday. John Lewis was here earlier. This nation fought a civil war, endured slavery by another name, dealt with legalized segregation. A civil rights movement in the mid and early 60s transformed this nation. And the notion that we would somehow go back and put in place things that make it difficult, more difficult for our fellow citizens to vote is simply inconsistent with all that's good about this country and something that I was bound and determined to fight. And our Civil Rights Division has done a superb job in crafting lawsuits based on a Voting Rights Act that was wrongly gutted by the Supreme Court, and I suspect that we will see successes from those efforts that have, those cases that have been filed. But that, of all things, simply cannot be allowed to happen. The right to vote must be protected. I want to thank my family, my lovely wife, for the sacrifices they've made over the years, not only to allow me to be Attorney General, but to be Deputy Attorney General, to be U.S. Attorney here in Washington, D.C. Honey, you've been the rock in the family, and you've allowed me You've allowed me the opportunity to do the things that really animated me and allowed me to work with all of these great people. I want to also say something about the folks who you see standing here, my detail. These are people, men and women, who literally sacrifice, their well-being in terms of their interactions with their families. They travel with me. They miss weekends. They work long and hard hours, and they're prepared to do ultimate kinds of things. And I could not do this job without them. Now, they will not smile because they never do that. I see Marcus is smiling a little bit there. Bart's also smiling. All right. So that's but yeah. And then I just want to thank all of you. All of you. You are what makes this institution great. We have a great building, and it is something that is historic in its nature, but it is only kept great by the dedication, the perseverance, the commitment that all of you show on a daily basis. And I hope that you all will understand that the jobs that you have, there is not a routine job in the United States Department of Justice. Given the great power that we are entrusted with, the responsibilities that we have, I don't want you all to ever think that, it's just Tuesday, I'm going to get through the day. That's not who we are at the United States Department of Justice. It's not who you all are. And I think that has certainly been shown by the way in which you've conducted yourselves and by the way in which you have accomplished so much over the last 6 years. I said earlier that when we celebrated Robert Kennedy's 50th anniversary of his swearing in 2011, people said that was a golden age for the United States Department of Justice. Well, I think that 50 years from now, and maybe even sooner than that, people are going to look back at the work that you all did and say that this was another golden age. That's how good you all are. That's how good you all are. That's how dedicated, committed, and wonderful you all have been, with a focus on justice, with a focus on helping those who cannot help themselves. You have distinguished yourselves. There's a long line of excellence in the United States Department of Justice, but every now and again, at an appropriate time, a group comes along that is worthy of special recognition, and you all are, in fact, one of those groups. I am proud of you. I am proud of you. I'm going to miss you. I am going to miss this building. I'm going to miss this institution. But more than anything, I'm going to miss you all. This building is always going to be home. You all are always going to be my family, and whatever I am doing, I will be rooting for you from the sidelines. Now I want to do something here. We have these bands that I've been wearing for the last whatever number of whatevers. I think I can officially take this off now.
Attorney General Eric Holder saying farewell to his colleagues at the Justice Department over there. He was addressing employees just a day after his chosen successor, Loretta Lynch, was confirmed by the Senate following that months-long delay. And now comes word that she'll be sworn in on Monday, not by the president, but by the vice president.